I've sat on this conversation for well over a year. I'm not proud to admit it, but I have. It made me really uncomfortable. And then it was easy to just file it away and pretend it didn't exist. And then I had a great therapy session. And for some reason, I was inspired to go back and listen to it. And when I did, I realized that the reason why I was uncomfortable was because I felt we'd gone down an avenue that was less about relationships and more about them themselves and therapy, which obviously, of course, it is about them and how they think and feel and how they respond and react to situations of a relationship nature. But I had so many questions afterwards, listening a year later. This person, well, let me tell you, this person will potentially leave you frustrated with their situation. Potentially screaming at your device saying, why have you not gone yet? Why are you still there? And yet we all forget that it's easy to be on the outside and direct when you're not on the inside. Yet we've all been there in any kind of relationship where we may need to leave, but we don't. Because we're the ones that have to make the decision, not those looking in. We're the ones that have to think about how changing our life doesn't feel safe, regardless of the situation you're in. So with that in mind, just hold that piece. But I'd be fascinated to hear what you guys think about it. Because what do you do when your relationship fundamentally changes? How can you have sexual attraction when you feel like a parent rather than a partner? So many things. How do you shift from in love to love and still stay? Which is the frustration part you may feel if you do listen to this. I do wonder, where are they now? Over a year on. So enjoy the conversation. Let me know what you think, but come at it from empathy and compassion rather than just all-out judgment. And as always, comments, questions, feedback, I'm all ears. Just keep it kind. So welcome. This is a first face-to-face. But what's really funny is that we've got a creeper who's watching, and it's Shadow in the window. She just sits there and stares through the window like an RSPCA dog at Christmas, like Tiny Tim. All right, so introduce yourself, name, sexual orientation, and relationship status.
I am Jill. I would say, I guess it's not, is it cis? Is that what? I don't know. With Tony, you've been with him for 16 years. Engaged, cohabiting.
Engaged, cohabiting. That's a new one. Yeah. That's a new one. All right. Okay, so you've been with someone for 16 years. That's a long time. Oh, your face. You look slightly scared.
Well, I don't know. It's a weird one. Still not entirely convinced that he actually. I mean, I proposed to him, which was weird, because he let me buy the dress and make the invitations, and we've done everything bar booking a venue. And as soon as we started looking at venues, he went, "Oh, it's only a piece of fucking paper. Why are we doing this?"
How?
And that was 12 years ago.
12 years ago, and then all of a sudden he's gone back on it and said, "No, fuck it."
And now he's going. No, that was then. So when we got within a year of being engaged, like we'd done it, we'd planned everything, and we were looking at venues.
Yeah.
So and now he's been out of work for 8 years. Doesn't know what he wants to do. Decides that life is too good, so just doesn't. It's not a case of can't work. It just doesn't work.
Is that hard?
Yeah.
Like, because I imagine I don't know what it's like to be in a long-term relationship. We all know that by now. If people have been listening, because I've said it more than enough times. But is that difficult because you got into this relationship not on the whole basis that one of you is not going to work?
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very much. It was the idea. What I think the idea was to begin with. We were both working. We were going to do the whole mortgage, then the marriage, then potentially look at further depending on how life went. And it just we got engaged. We moved out. He lost his job, and 10 years later, I'm still. I love him because I've been with him for so long. I don't know if I'm in love with him anymore.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah, I imagine it is really fucking hard, regardless of whether you're with someone in that way or not. Like seeing someone day in, day out, not doing anything when they can. That's quite difficult. But you're saying you love him, but you're not in love with him. Like, we're just fucking hell move straight into this situation. Like, we're not even warming up here. Chill, fuck. But you say that you love him, but you probably aren't in love with him. But is that because who were you in love with?
The person that made me laugh, that actually treated me like an equal.
Okay.
And now I am more of a parent. And it's like if I wanted children, I'd have had children.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And even to the point of it's just like, have you done this yet? And it's like you have to write a to-do list. It's like, you're 42. I should not be behind you. Have you done X, Y, Z today? Yeah. And
even Daisy's saying so.
Yeah.
She's with you.
So
yeah.
It's weird. I mean, there is an element of emotional blackmail that goes with it, because every time it's brought up about splitting up and going separate ways, it's I might as well be dead, and I should just go and kill myself because I'm nothing if I haven't got you. So there is that in the background, which is probably why I'm still in where I am.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense at all.
But he's not been working for 8 years. This has been going on for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Is there anything about him now that you look at and go, this I still like?
Yeah.
I feel like you're like, I don't really want to answer that because I know.
No, it is one of those. I'd say about maybe 3 days out of the week, I would be like, actually, there's the person I fell in love with. Yeah. The rest of the time, it's just like, fuck's sake, not again.
Yeah, fuck.
So part of it is like, do I really want to give up on it? Because it's been so long, and it's the fear of the unknown. It's like, do you? I suppose, like when you say, it's like when you say your vows, it's for richer, for poorer, for better or worse. And is giving up on that, failing. So I don't like to fail, which is not good. But at the same time, if it's making me miserable, I do I try and take the step, and then you try and take the step, and then you get the whole guilt trip, and then you go 6 steps back again, and constantly chasing your tail.
Yeah, no, I can totally see how that would play out, and that's really difficult, especially is because some of the time you get a glimpse of the person that you fell in love with. But so I've seen it before. There's like safety in it, right? Because you know what you're getting when you go home every day. Yeah. So it's easy. Yeah. It's not always fun, but it's easy. Yeah. And because the alternative is scary as fuck because it's the unknown. Yeah. Have you ever been one of those people that just jump into the unknown?
Nope.
Oh, there we go. That's why. So what's stopping you?
I honestly don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, it's like, the more I think about it, the more it's like my brain is always saying, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you putting up with it? Why are you staying? You could do, there is so much more that you could do with your life, and that would be so much easier if you weren't in the situation you're in.
Yeah.
But then the other part is, yeah, but that's new, and we don't like new.
Yeah.
Do we really want to do that all over again? Do we really want to start all over again? So
yeah, like your face is saying,
my own worst enemy. I don't really know.
You know the amount of people though that is really scary. But some of the people that I've spoken to have blown up their entire lives because they've actually finally put themselves first and realised that. And I'm not saying that to put yourself first means that you have to blow up your entire world.
No,
but the people that I have spoken to that have done that, and there's that thing of not wanting to be like the bad person, but sometimes good people have to do bad things to move forward. And they've come out the other side knowing that that's exactly how, that's just what had to happen. But is it like, what is it though? Like this starting again, the unknown.
Yeah.
You very much like routine.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, yeah, I like routine. I love all that stuff.
Get up, we do this, we do this, we do this, and we move on.
But do you not like, if from 5 years from now,
I'm more than likely going to be in exactly the same place if I don't. I've got to give myself that kick up the butt. But
5 years, where can you see yourself in 5 years if you don't do anything?
Exactly the same.
How does that feel? The thought of that, how does that feel?
That's depressing.
Is it? Like your body language says a whole thing in itself.
It is just like, oh God, what am I doing?
How long have you been feeling this way?
Oh God, probably about 6 years.
To be fair though, we have to take into account that there's a shit ton of stuff that has happened collectively over the last 5 years with pandemics and lockdowns and absolute fucking world chaos and wars and stuff like that. So that compounds everything, and you're thinking, and sometimes you just need something that's safe and that you can, know what's going to play out.
I think that probably is a lot of it. Is like the game was like, get the mortgage rate out the way. When the mortgage rate comes up, look at the next step, do it chip at a time. And then when it came up in October, everything all just fell apart again. And in the space of 3 weeks, the car needed stuff, and then there was the mortgage rate was up, and it was, you can't afford the mortgage if you don't do. I had to extend it, and so everything just went, fuck it, okay, not today.
Yeah,
not today.
But I feel that so basically, there's always something, and there's always going to be something.
I've just got to take the bigger bite of the shit sandwich.
I feel like you know that you have to do this,
and I'm just
the way that you're speaking is
too scared to do it.
Why do you think you're scared?
Because I know it's going to be shit.
Have you always been scared of big changes?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And feel free at any point to go, I don't want to answer that.
I don't know. Change is, I don't know, change is scary. And I've always been a people pleaser. So knowing that it's going to upset people.
Who else is it going to upset?
His parents. Because we've had conversations with his parents, because they're not happy with him and the way that he's being. Even to the point where his mum sits there and says, "Oh, I do love you. I miss having you round." I said, "You can have him back." Oh no, I couldn't live with him again. Both younger brothers are now moved out and married, and she still won't have him back. So
part of it, so like you've got this whole, there's safety in this, there's the people pleaser bit, which I can totally understand. Have you sought out help? Like, have you ever kind of like looked at that part of you explored that part of you, why you people please, why you need to be in the safety of something that you know. I mean, it's obviously for a lot of people safe, that is safe, but
it's probably something I should do, to be fair.
I love the way you look at me like, oh yeah, that sounds like
that's actually something I really should do.
But the thing is that
sense.
I think for me personally, I had to work out what the fuck, why I was doing the things that I was doing, why I would act the way I act, why I sort out the things that I sort out, because it was like it was not changing. And I was like, it's got to fucking change, because I can't keep doing this. Like, I can't keep, I mean, obviously it hasn't worked out in the fact that I'm like, you know, dating all the time and doing all this, but I'm fulfilled in other spaces of my life. And there was that people pleaser bit in me. And there was that, like, even if it's chaotic, even if it's really depressing, I know it and it's safe because I know it, and I know what's going to happen tomorrow, and I know what's going to happen the next day and the next day and the next day.
Yeah.
Even though it's not
actually doing me any good in the long run.
Doesn't bring you joy.
No.
Yeah. So, because like people pleasing is such a shitter, because so many people are people pleasers. Do you know what I mean? You can see it in other people as well, and you're like, fucking hell, yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that, and I'll raise you. More people pleasing. So, but you know, this has been going on for 6 years. Have your relationships always been kind of like that, where you just kind of
so I don't know. It's a weird one.
Okay.
I didn't actually start dating until I was 21.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it was a long time starting. And then that was like my first serious relationship didn't go down very well. All blew up again a couple of years ago when he's found somebody else, and then they started contacting me, and so that was just odd. So, but I've only really had, including Tony's, 4 relationships.
Yeah. I feel like you're looking at me like you feel maybe inadequate or something about the fact that you're almost like going, that is not acceptable.
I don't know. Most of my friends, I think, because friends I've had, they've all been able to. They need more than one hand to count with their relationships on, and I feel like the odd one out a little bit because that's not been me. So I just think, is it part of me broken that I then put myself in these situations and then decide that even though it's not making me 100% happy, I put up with it because it's safe. Yeah. It's safe. And like, is there a kind of like the thing, well, first off, I have only had maybe a handful of relationships myself. Like, it's not actually that unusual. It's just that those that have more than like 5 relationships are more likely to say it. Those that don't, like those that have less relationships, are less likely to shout about it because of the fact that some people look at that like it's weird when actually it's not. Yeah, it really isn't. I know a lot of people. I know some people that have only had like 3 relationships and they're in their 30s and whatever. So it's not actually weird. It's just that it's not as talked about as those that have had like 1 relationship after another. But like, is there like a part of you is because you want to be wanted, needed, and so it fulfills a need in you? Yeah. Yeah. Which makes me want to ask, where's that come from? I don't know. If I knew, I suppose that is the $1 million question, isn't it? I like to feel helpful. That then makes me happy. Yeah. But at the same time, it also makes me resent him because he's treating me like a parent. Yeah. You've turned into this like parent-child relationship. Yeah. Yeah. Which, it always sucks.
always sucks. Have you tried the whole communication thing?
Yeah, and I just get stonewalled and just shuts down. And it's almost like la 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 la.
Yeah.
And
That's always hard.
It's like, talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just don't just stand there and cry. Tell me why we're crying. Just crying doesn't help.
Yeah.
Just gives you a headache.
I don't know. Sometimes I like a good cry. Yeah.
It's like just gives me a headache, bulges your sinuses up, and then you just feel really shit because you just cried for 45 minutes. But at the same time, you feel better because you cried for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But you don't really know why you've cried.
Sometimes you just need to, right?
Yeah.
Get some of that energy and that emotion out. Do you know what I mean?
But let it out however you can.
The thing is, though, like, I asked, like, can you see yourself being here in like 5 years' time? But have you ever imagined what it would look like in 5 years' time, being completely in control of your world and your environment? Have you ever done that?
No. That's a good one.
If you woke up tomorrow and you were completely in control of your environment, what would that look like?
Very different.
Okay.
Very different.
How would you feel?
Less pressured. A lot less pressure.
I feel like this has turned into a therapy session. I do apologise, but I just find it really fascinating because I think that this is why I have these conversations, because I think that everybody's like, there's so many differences in how people approach things and in the way they live and view things. However, actually, we're fundamentally all the same. We all want and have certain fundamental needs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
things, it makes sense.
Yeah.
When you say it makes sense. It's just the initial saying it. It's just like, oh.
Yeah. It's do you know what? When I have, like, say, do the work, sometimes I've sat across from my therapist and just been like, oh, fuck off. Like, just, I fucking know this. I don't want to hear it. Just let me just go the way that I've been going. And it's like, actually, do you know what? It's just because it's resistance, because you know it's true. But you know that tomorrow's going to be different because you're not totally in control of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time you are, because you're taking full control and stuff. So, yeah. And so you're still engaged. Yeah. Have you ever? When was the last time you guys went out on a date?
Oh dear God. I don't actually remember, in all honesty.
To be fair, there's a lot of people out there that don't go on dates and they've been together for years, or they've only implemented like a date night however many years in because they've gone, oh fuck, we should focus on this. What would a date look like if you could go on one tomorrow?
Oh God, I don't know. I really would not have a clue where to start. I would not have a clue.
I know I'm like firing loads of like things at you. Like, what does this look like to you? What does this feel like? But what does it look like?
Well, the most romantic thing he does on Valentine's Day is actually does the washing up without me nagging him. So it's just to come home and it's like, yay!
Wow.
Get a nag for a day. So it's like something like that. Actually, like dating, I wouldn't have a bloody clue.
What would be, if you could just go out on a date tomorrow, whether it's with him or someone else, or like just in general, when you were younger, what would a date night look like?
Oh God.
You could do anything.
That sounds really, really, really. I don't like evenings. Probably be like afternoon coffee and a walk, just for a chat.
Sounds
just
great.
To give somebody your time.
I do really get people pleaser energy from you, because even then you're kind of almost asking me permission of whether that is a good date or not. Like,
I don't know. It just makes me feel really boring, because there's so many things you could do, but it's just not me.
Is it boring though?
Not to me.
Exactly. Then it's not boring.
But
how long have you been comparing yourself and what you like to others?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. That must be tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've been there. It's fucking tiring when you're just like, oh, I'm probably really boring to this person. Because we have that here, like, we're more down for like walking the dogs and working out rather than like going out to a club and getting absolutely hammered. We're just not into it. And also, we're older. It takes longer to get over a fucking hangover. So why do you want to go there?
Yeah.
Why do you want to go there? So a coffee and a walk, it's not boring, because if you're with the right person, you're having a good time, you're having a good chat, if that's what you like. How is it boring if you like it?
Yeah.
And if it's boring to the other person,
and they're not
then it's the right person, yeah.
Yeah, when you say that makes sense.
Like, do you know what I mean? But when you break it down logically, all these things, when you do it logically, it's a whole different
ballgame.
Yeah, when you step out of it and step out of your feelings and like the comparison and stuff like that, it becomes like a whole, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it does.
I was on a dating app and this woman was into something, and she, in her actual profile, she said that she was quite boring. And I literally wrote back, why are you boring? And she was like, oh, I just think people find me boring. And I was like,
I haven't found the right one.
Yeah, like, because there's someone out there that I think she was into astrophysics or something like that, or whatever, and spirituality. And I was like, well, there's going to be someone that finds that really fascinating.
Yeah.
So, or someone that finds you fascinating enough that they want to understand what you like. When was the last time he wanted to understand what you like? He came to Rush in May. Mm-hmm.
Mainly because they were short on marshals. And
so you're like, can you help?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was just like, I was like, fine. I was like, well, you're coming with me now. He was like, oh, what do I do? Just point people in the right direction and keep cheering.
Yeah.
And he really enjoyed himself. But he won't run with me because in his thing, he was practically feral as a child, so he's got it all out of his system.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like, why am I going to pay to go and do that when I've done it all my childhood? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
And I have a giggle when I do it. But it's just like, why?
Yeah.
I've got to do that. Oh, fucking hell. Loads of laundry when you come back. It's like,
when can you describe a time where you do actually enjoy each other's company?
Yeah.
I feel like all these questions, you're going to walk away from me having an absolute fucking crisis.
No.
That's all right. I'll give you the email of a therapist. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's not something you can actually put your finger on. For me, sometimes to be able to have a bath without somebody coming in. It was like knowing it without having, not having to fight. Like, just give me half an hour on my own, and then like just when I come back from work, have a bath, and then you can talk to me, rather than just come home and just like jabber straight away. So on the very rare occasion that he does let me do that, that's just like, it's like there's the person. But it's very few and far between.
Do they see other people?
He doesn't usually go out. He'll go shopping. But apart from his neighbours, he doesn't really go out, and he's always on YouTube. And everything is conspiracy theories, which has just got worse from COVID and stuff like that. So it's hard work.
Yeah, feels like it.
And it isn't getting easier. So, I don't know.
I feel like it again comes back to this, like, it's almost like you kind of know what you need to do, but you're looking for permission, but also some kind of like reassurance because of it's so unknown, and you're like a timetable.
Yeah. I know it's gonna. It's weird because I know, like, all of my family just like to just get rid of him. Get rid. We're all here. We'll all help. We'll do this. But then I know that it's going to upset him. It's going to upset his family. And my brain still goes, yeah, but what if you don't really want to do it?
Okay.
And then I think, but like 5 days out of 7, I'm thinking, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, what the hell? 2 days a week, I'm just like, there's the reason. It's kind of like, until I get to 7 days, it's almost like my brain is just saying to me, don't give up until you're on that 7 day, when you've had more 7 day stretches of, oh, for fuck's sake. Don't give up till you hit that point.
Okay.
But then the other part of my brain is saying, you've waited 12 years. How much longer are you going to fucking put up with it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, there's patient, and then there's just stop, because you're actually doing yourself damage now.
And do you mind, may I ask how old you are?
I'm 40.
You're 40?
Yeah.
So you're 40, and like these days, let's face it, at the end of the day, a long time ago, 40, everybody would have been like on their way out. So by then it wouldn't have really mattered.
No.
But you're pretty much like maybe halfway through, maybe under halfway through.
Yeah.
So you've got so much more life to live.
Do I really want to keep going?
How long does, and it's not that I'm advocating for you to ditch him and go and frolic in fields in other ways, but but it just even if you don't do that bit, there seems like there's this bit that you need to work on for yourself about not just what you want, well no, actually essentially what you want, but also to drop the chains of people pleasing, because there seems like there's a lot of that, really a lot of strings that attach you to him and to the others, where it's all about making sure that they're still happy regardless.
It's almost like, while everybody else is happy, it doesn't matter whether I'm happy or not. You like people to, so is it that weird thing where people are like, I'm happy because they're happy, but then you're actually not really happy? Yeah. I tell myself I'm happy because other people are happy, and it's just like, yeah, I did that. But on the other hand, I'm like, actually, but what did I want? What do you want? I've got no bloody clue.
It's been that long. When was the last time you knew what you wanted?
Yeah. I honestly don't remember.
If you could go back, there's this whole thing of like going back. If your like 12-year-old self, 10-year-old self was watching now, what did you imagine this would look like when you were this age at that point?
I was convinced I was going to be the crazy cat lady.
Oh, okay. So you got a rabbit?
Yeah. So I got a vegetarian cat. I was convinced that I was going to be on my own with a house full of animals, and I was going to be a librarian of all things.
Okay. Yeah.
because I like books.
Yeah.
And books are safe. And
books are good.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen.
No.
It's funny how that's how you imagined yourself to be when you got to this point, but you're actually... What's better? Which one? Which universe is?
I don't know. Because I could imagine if it had gone how I thought it was going to go, I could imagine it being very lonely. But at times, where I am is very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't know which one would be the best way forward.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting though, like even as a child, you didn't actually imagine like that kind of stuff. No, never thought, because I always just took it for granted that I'd just like relationships, really, like even though I came from a broken home, I was just like, oh yeah, that just happens. Yeah. Like relationships just happen. I'll be in a relationship, like I wouldn't have to work for it. It's just there, isn't it? But for you, that literally was not.
No, it was just I think because I was quiet and I wasn't sporty and I didn't go out and everyone was at the end of the time people really talked to me was just like, oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Mm-hmm. So helping people was the only way people would interact. So it never became a thing of, well, I'm worth.
You're only worth what you can give to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. Like I get it. And there's something there's something that is sad about that, but also like there's so many people that are in service to others because it fulfills them. Like it does. Like I absolutely love it when I can help somebody.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. But for you now, it's turned into this relationship where you're...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hasn't even making me happy anymore.
It hasn't. What was like? Did you say like 6 years? 8 years? It's not been. Yeah. Not been a thing.
It's been great.
Yeah. Is it like because there's also that thing of if you were to let this go and kind of move on from it, is it also because there's that thought of being that you might be alone?
Yeah. So I don't know why, but the thought of being completely alone scares the crap out of me. But it shouldn't.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't. Because most of the time I do feel lonely. And I think it's going to be no different. The only difference is that I'm only going to be paying for one, not paying for two.
That's true. You don't have to think about someone else. Yeah.
But then would I get really, really selfish and would it change me?
I feel like that's kind of like a real kind of in or out way of thinking. Like can only be one or the other. Yeah. When actually it's all the in between. Like you're not going to become, you're a fucking people pleaser. You're not going to become selfish.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen overnight. That's not even something that happens. That doesn't happen to a people pleaser. Even if you break those kind of habits, you're still that good person that likes to help people. Like it's just in your nature. But I get the whole kind of in or out. Like it's either I'm going to be doing this or I'm going to become really fucking selfish and then like, oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Like I get it. But when you move away from like that kind of black or white thinking that you're either in or you're out.
I just need to feel that there can be grey areas.
Yeah. Like there's so many fucking, everything is in the grey. Yeah. Everything is in the grey. And it's sometimes a little bit more shadier than other times, but it is a whole thing. And yeah, it is really interesting because like the people pleasing is such a thing for so many people and it holds so many people back from moving forward and that kind of like avoiding conflict, avoiding being, because I assume you don't like being the bad person.
No, not really.
You don't like doing bad things, but sometimes like it's not that you're a bad person. You're a good person, but sometimes you got to do a bad thing. Because I've seen it with, say, Molly, who I had a conversation with, who was with her husband since she was 14, knew no other life other than her husband and the childhood friends that they had. That was it. That was their whole thing.
Wow.
Think kind of like Friends set up, where they all just hang out together. That's it. And she blew it all up and has completely changed her world. And she's still a good person. She just unfortunately had to hurt a few people along the way. And then, you know, you got Rach, who was an alcoholic, and she was married. And then when she got sober, she realised that in order to properly, like, to be happy, that she had to break away from her wife.
Oh, blimey.
So again, she had to think about herself. She was like, the only way I could do this was if I wanted to be happy, I had to go. It hurts a lot of people around her, but she's still a good person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, people are still good people, but you have to hurt people. And it's not nice, it's not comfortable, and it's going to break your heart. But your happiness has to come first.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were happy? Oh, another hard question.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Coming at you from all directions.
Yeah, there's different degrees of happy. I was happy when I got the weekend job that I was just like, yay! But more that on a personal level, last time I was happy, probably about 4 years ago. When I think it was some 10 months. I think it was during COVID, and it was when everybody was still having to say the mask. And somebody turned around and said to me that, you know what, I don't even need to see the rest of your face. I know you're smiling just from looking at your eyes. And for some reason, that really made me happy. It was like, oh, fair enough.
Nice.
And yeah.
I mean, happiness is like relative. It comes and it goes. You can't consistently be happy because it's just an unobtainable thing. But like, you can feel moments of joy. What brings you joy? Even the smallest of things. You know what? I made a really great porridge the other week, and I was like, oh my God, this was a fucking good porridge. Do you know what I mean? These tiny little things.
Yeah.
That don't rely on someone else's reaction.
Actually, small win, the fact that Chewy actually looks for my car now.
Who is Chewy?
Chewy is my bunny.
Right. Who the fuck is Chewy? Right, okay.
Yeah, Chewy, he's taken to doing laps of the front room, and then he launches himself through the curtain and watches from my car out the window. When I go to work in the morning, he sticks his head through the baby gate like, Mom, where are you going? And then when I come home, he's sitting there waiting for me at the window. That is just
yeah. No, I get it. I walk through the door and then the Daisy and Frisky are like, hey. I mean, obviously they're like, it's dinner time, but do you know what I mean? They're there and they're like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Is that a cuddle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's taken from May to now to finally decide that, oh, okay, you're a cool human. maybe I do want to do more than just poop on your shoes.
Lovely. Is that what you're missing from your other half?
I think so.
You don't feel like it? There's that. When was the last time? Do you feel like he misses you, or has that?
He gets frustrated that at my lack of sex drive. So yeah, he tends to sort himself out.
But I mean, the thing that's an interesting subject in itself, because I think that there's a lot of people out there's a lot of pressure because there's all, you know, sex positivity and all for it. However, there's a lot of pressure then to those that don't have a high sex drive to feel like there's something wrong with them when there is nothing wrong with them.
But most of it is because it's not really...
You're not sexually attracted to him.
And I feel like a parent. And when I'm feeling like a parent, it's not...
Yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah.
So it's like, he can't see that. All he sees is, oh, well, you're not interested. Well, that's because you're treating me like your mum.
You're not a person to be...
If you're not treating me as an equal and as someone you're interested in, that's not very attractive.
Yeah.
But it's because of your tablets.
Yeah.
Because of this and because of that. No, actually.
Do you think that you have to have something that I came to a conclusion for me when I was having conversations, say, like with Rin, she had asked me the question, because I'd put something up about being asexual and asexuality, aromantic, when I'd had Dustin on, who had identified as that. But that was more of he had come about that way of description was due to trauma. And so that's kind of like where you don't feel that sexual attraction and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that's you, but it had kind of like... then kind of got me thinking about, okay, well, what is it for me? Why is it in my previous partners where sex is sex, but I've never really gone that step further with the emotional side of it? What is it? And it was like, I have to have an emotional connection to that person.
Yeah.
Which I think it's called like demisexual, whatever, however you want to like fit that box. But you don't have that emotional connection to him.
Doesn't feel like it anymore, no.
Do you think you can get it back?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just gone too far.
How... It's a harsh question, but how long are you willing to wait?
Yeah. Never really looked at it like that.
Because there was something that Simon Sinek had said, which I was like, well, that's really interesting. And he found that to have a relationship, why these relationships for him weren't working and stuff like that, that he found that you had to be, and this is not all in equal measure. Sometimes you're more in one area, and, you know, these things kind of go up and down as a balance, right?
Yeah.
And that you have to be kind of emotionally attracted to someone. Like the sexual attraction is there, but you also have to be intellectually attracted to them. So are you interested in what they're are you interested in what they're interested in? So when I had that conversation with Lou, and she was like, I don't like football, but I will sit there on the weekend and I will listen to Karis talk about her fantasy football league because I love Karis.
Yeah.
And I love that she loves it.
Yeah.
Are any of these boxes being ticked for you?
It feels like I listen to him, but it's never reciprocated. Anything, if I try and I just get, oh, no. It's very, like, family will sit and listen, but then family have the same interests. So it's a conversation rather than just a hi. It's not exactly a hi dear, how was your day? Oh, look, I did this. It's have you tried that? Have you seen this? So he's never really. He's not interested. There's only, I think it's the more I come to realise it, that's when I started realising that it's like, you know what, it's one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
And why am I doing it? Yeah.
We all have that thing. I've spoken to a few people that have ended up staying in a relationship because of the material things. So like having a house together, sharing an animal or whatever, and not, you know, how the fuck do you can't split an animal in half.
No.
But are those things really worth all the other things that you're giving up in order to have them? So I'm not saying that like with the mortgage and whatever is keeping you there, but all the things that you're currently willing at the moment, you are willing to give all these things up to stay in this position. Is it worth it? It's a really fucking hard question, to be fair. I get that. And I don't expect you to be able to answer that. Like, but
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, is it worth it?
The gut answer is no.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It's the gut just says no, it's not worth it. What the hell are you doing?
If you had to, like, we go back to that thing about waking up tomorrow, if you had to make one change, any change, one change, even in the smallest of changes, what would it be?
To not feel guilty about making a decision for me.
Mm-hmm. Where does that come from?
I don't know.
So what's really interesting is that a lot of the times when we have these behaviours, they really come back to how we grew up, our caregivers, our things like that. Now, I'm not saying blame your parents, but
No.
like, where does your guilt come from?
I don't know. I think it's kind of like I feel bad for upsetting people.
Yeah.
And to do something that will make me happy, but that will upset somebody else, I will then feel bad for putting myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Which is stupid.
But why though?
Because I shouldn't feel bad for putting myself first.
You shouldn't, but why do you? What's the voice in... Like, obviously, there's a voice in your head that tells you that you should feel guilty. Whose voice is that? Because that ain't yours.
No.
It's really tough, and not part of me, 100% of me thinks that potentially, like, have you ever explored like therapy? Have you ever explored just kind of like trying to go a little bit deeper and getting the tools to kind of work with the structures that you have in place for your thinking? So like the guilt and stuff like that, it's not your voice. You weren't born feeling guilty. Like, you weren't born people pleasing.
No.
And it's really like, it's a whole thing. Like, you shouldn't feel guilty for wanting to be happy and feel more joy and to feel attraction and to feel someone have attraction towards you, and do you know what I mean? Like, and to be able to wake up in the morning and not feel guilty, fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. Like your body language, your whole energy is like,
it's like
hey, this is hard.
It's one of those. When you say it, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that little thing. You're just like, oh, is it me?
Mm-hmm. Is it you?
Oh, I'd love to be able to do it.
Okay.
I'd love to be able to make a decision just based on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And not care about how it would impact somebody else. I just honestly have no clue how I would go around doing it.
Yeah. Would you entertain therapy?
I have had I had survivor's guilt from a traffic accident, and that took a little while to get my brain round. And then it might be worth me going back. To be fair,
I feel like there's potential in that to give you the tools and the strength to work out what it is, because it's not that it's pushing you towards breaking up with this person and moving on, but also just giving you the strength and confidence and changing your internal monologue, because it's a lot. What did you want to get out of this conversation?
To be fair, just a sounding board, really. And just like I know what my brain is telling me, and anybody that I've spoken to really looks at me like I've got a second head, because I've not just drawn the line and moved on. And it's like, but I don't know. It's not that I don't enjoy being indecisive. I don't enjoy I don't know what the right phrase for it is. I'm just trying. Just to see if anybody else does anybody else have the same kind of thing?
Yeah.
Weird.
No, I get it. You feel quite alone in the situation that you're in the way that you think, the way that you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. That's what, I started this because I wanted to have conversations, because I've never had those long-term relationships. So I don't know what it's like to walk in and see someone there or miss someone or whatever. And so it's really fascinating to see how people live and how people think, because actually I already knew that it's not all sunshine and roses. Yeah. But there's so many lessons in everything that people talks about. There's going to be lessons in what we're talking about today from you. And whether you realise it or not, or even be like, no one can learn anything from me, but people can. They can, because also it makes some people who might be feeling the same way feel less alone. True. And that's something, because it makes it harder when you feel like you're alone. Yeah. So is it a case that, if anybody listens to this, what advice have you got?
Probably start listening to your head more.
Well, it sounds like your head's lying to you, so
no,
a bit harsh. But
to be fair, I think it's my heart that lies to me.
Okay.
Not my head, because my head is the one that says is you know what you've got to do. You know what will make life easier, and it's always the heart that's saying, yeah, but what if? Yeah. And until the heart gives up, it's really hard to listen to your head. Yeah. But
if you looked at it differently, does your heart have to give up, or is there a possibility that your heart and your head could find some way of being on the same path? Probably. It's just trying to find the way around to get the crossover and get the meeting point. Yeah. Instead of keep going in the opposite directions in the fork, we need the fork to come back the other way. Okay, so I feel like I've hammered you absolutely hammered you and really made you have to think on the fly, which is tough. But when this comes out, it'll be 2024.
Yeah.
What do you hope for yourself, or what would you like for yourself in 2024?
I would like to be able to not feel guilty about making decisions for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a big enough step.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Dude, that is a big thing. Yeah.
But to be able, if I can, even if it's like one decision a month, and I don't feel guilty about it, that would be a thing.
It would be huge. That's a lot of energy. Yeah. You use a lot of energy feeling guilty, second guessing yourself, comparing yourself to others
constantly,
and just think of all that energy that could be used elsewhere.
Yeah.
Oof.
That would be cool.
That's a lot of energy to bank.
That is cool. That's like a whole weekend of marshalling.
Yeah, just
unleash that juju.
Get in. All right, thank you very much.
All right.
I love that. All right.